Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 7:30 on Saturday the 6th of February. Just making my way down to the land. As always, never quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and as you might have seen as I was driving in, a lot of rain today. I thought I'd go a different route to the cabin just so you can see this. That's the area where I was talking about putting the new pond this year. Clearly that is the place, because we have standing water, which is gradually getting bigger over this last week, where we've had quite a bit of rain. So fingers crossed, if we can get a little mini digger in later in the year, by the end of the year we'll have a decent sized pond in this top corner of the field. Anyway, I am surprised this morning because we're forecast for snow. You can probably hear underfoot. It is squelchy. Yeah, we're supposed to be having snow this weekend. They're calling it the beast from the east. We had one of those a few years ago, and a lot of different parts of the country ground to a halt because of the amount of snow. We're not really geared up in this country for getting rid of it. Don't know why that is. Well, I do, but I won't go there. So they're threatening this weekend, so we might not be down very much this weekend. We'll see, I guess. It's certainly not great weather for doing anything outside, and I can't really do much because of the temperatures. It is forecast again this weekend for -3s, 4s and 5s. I see we've got a little tiny bit here of standing water just outside the cabin, but to be fair, that's because I've spent the last few months in really wet weather just constantly walking backwards and forwards, so at some point, again, and not now, at some point I am going to have to do something here and just, there you can see it better now, but that is me going backwards and forwards and wearing away at the surface over the last few months. Well, probably over the last year actually. Anyway, I'm going to get it inside out of this rain, get warmed up, as usual, get the coffee on. Hopefully I'll be doing something with the water barrel today as well. So let me stop talking and get inside, and I'll catch up with you shortly. Well, that's a nice sight on a wet morning. Fire's taken nicely there. Soon be time for coffee. I'll just quickly show you the temperatures before I get too wet, or I hope I will. So we've got, what's that, 5, 6, 7, almost 7 degrees outside. And in the garden room we've got, that's what, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees, hovering around 9. And then in the cabin, what have we got? We've got, doesn't want to focus, there we go. It's about the same, 9 degrees, between 8 and 9. So temperatures right now not too bad, but if this camera focuses, as you can hear, it is raining, and we have got a forecast for quite considerable temperature drop at the weekend. I noticed as I was driving in a lot of standing water on the fields, and if I just point out across the neighbouring fields, you can probably see standing water. There's even more of it in the the field after that. So yeah, it looks like it might be another one of those years. But at least inside we're nice and dry and we've got the fire on. So I'm going to get myself this coffee made. Well, good morning. I don't know if you can hear me above the sound of the rain. It's absolutely throwing it down out there. So it's nice to be in here with the fire on and a cup of coffee in my hand. I'm suspecting it'll be a short day today. The sky outside is really, really grey. We had this about a week ago where it did this, it had forecast snow. Everyone woke up in the morning, it was throwing it down with rain, and I went to work thinking no snow, and then all of a sudden around about 11 o'clock the rain turned to snow, and then we had 2 days where we had quite deep snow and everyone was crying off work on snow days. I wasn't. So I'm guessing that this could be the same thing, because they have forecast over the weekend and into next week heavy snow across various parts of the country, and temperatures back down to the -3s, 4s, 5s and upwards, depending on where it is exactly that you live in the country. So not an awful lot going to be going on today, I suspect. I have got things to do outside. I've got the connecting pipe finally for the water barrels on the garden room. I topped up the fuel can that I used last week when I topped up the generator of the little red tractor. So that's sat in the garden room at the moment. It wants to go outside in that little fuel store cabinet I've got. But I figure I'll just have this coffee and wait and see what happens with the rain. I don't really want to be getting into waterproofs if it stops. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens, I guess. But other than that, not a great deal today. I have checked on the temperatures. I had a quick look in the garden room. Those seed trays are planted, and the potato and carrot buckets that I've got going. Nothing happening yet, no green shoots. I'm not that surprised, I have to say, and I'm guessing that looking at some of the comments I've had in recent videos, you're not surprised either. It is still early, we're only now into the first week of February, so it is a bit early to be trying to get things to grow in an unheated garden room. Anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and all is well with you and your family. Life continues in lockdown here in the UK, though you wouldn't think it when you move around, whether that's to work and back or whether that's to the supermarket and back. Everyone does seem to be doing their own thing, so not much in the lockdown going on. I kind of touched on briefly this morning the amount of water that's standing in the fields, which does remind me an awful lot of last year. We've had very similar weather last year, and in all honesty this is unusual weather for us. We don't normally have these really prolonged bouts of wet weather. Last year we had a really prolonged bout of drought. So I'm just wondering, looking around at what we've had so far this winter, whether we're going to have the same thing again in 2021, which does add fuel to the potential crop shortage story that everyone is kind of talking about now, particularly in America. The planting and harvest seasons the last couple of years have been completely turned on their heads. Lots of crops weren't planted, lots of crops weren't harvested, and there is a bit of talk around YouTube and in some of the media outlets about similar kind of things this year and what that might do for food prices, as if we didn't have enough concerns about food prices with all this COVID we've had for the last year. So it is going to be interesting to watch, so do keep your eye on that. And of course, if there is potential for disruption or for shortage, which will definitely impact on price, then perhaps it's not such a bad idea when I keep repeating my mantra of keep topping up on your food stores. Anyway, I'm going to get this coffee down me, listen to the rain. The one advantage of this is that I do have time to sit and ponder and think about what I might want to be trying to do over the next few weeks. There's an awful lot of stuff floating around in my head. You already know that I'm planning on constructing a chicken house or chicken coop, but that is weather dependent. And as I look out to the field and see the amount of rain that's coming down, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of that type of activity going on for the foreseeable future. But wherever I am getting up to this weekend, I'll keep you posted in the video. There are a few things that I can be doing if I'm not here in the cabin. There's things I can do in the house with my food stores, and it is perhaps a good opportunity to get me out into the DIY stores, and I might pick up a few bits and pieces in terms of construction type supplies and material this weekend if this weather continues as it is. So watch out for that as well. If I don't get much done today, I might roll this over into another video tomorrow, do a combined Saturday Sunday video. Right now I just have no clue. So I'm going to sit here with my coffee in the dry, in the warm, chuckle a little bit of wood on the fire and have a little think. Well, that's the two barrels connected together. So this one is now feeding into that one, and I've got a little tap on this one and again on the other one, so I've got feeds coming out from both, and this one here will literally just pipe through into the garden room. So as you can see from the water everywhere, not the weather to be doing it really, but it's done, which is the main thing. So as time progresses, I can, if I want, add in further barrels just to increase the storage capacity, but nice to see that finally installed. Well, I decided to bite the bullet and just add to the carrots and potatoes. You remember I put in 16th of January I put carrots in 2 pots, and then 23rd of January I put those 2 little tubs of potatoes in. So I've got my potatoes that they're just shrub oats. I've just left them to chit, and you can see that they're putting out some chits. So I'll get a couple of tubs of those put in, and then I've got some carrots, so I'll pop into buckets of carrots as well, and we'll see how we get on. Well, this rain just isn't stopping at all. But we've got to keep going, so I'm just going to pop, I think I'll pop 4 in of these. Find the ones with the biggest chits. And I'll do the same in this other one. And you can see those, and I'll just get those covered over with a bit of compost, and then I'll set about the carrots. This rain just is not giving me a break at all. I'm pleased I got that few jobs done outside. I don't know if you noticed, but the wet proofs had to go on for that. And looking at the sky outside, this is just in for the day. It's not going to let up. So there'll not be a great deal going on once I've got these carrots and potatoes in. But as always, any progress is progress. So I'm quite happy here, just tinkering away. I'm not expecting these to suddenly start erupting from the barrels anytime soon. But as I've said a load of times, unless you try, you don't know. And really, it is worth knowing what you can and can't get away with. And the only way of finding out is by doing. You can look at the seed packets and get some dates off there. You can look at what other people are doing on YouTube and see what they're doing. But the main thing really is just to experiment. Have a little go and see what works and what doesn't in your lawn area. I don't think I need any water in this. Might do for the carrots. But that's potatoes in. I'll just pop those little tags in so I remember what dates they've gone in. But there's a good gap between those. That's 23rd of Jan to 6th of Feb, so that's a couple of weeks there. The carrots, actually even more because they went in the week before. 16th of Jan, the first pots went in. So I'll just literally sprinkle these around and we'll see what we do or don't get with these. I can thin them out. I think it's probably easy just to slight overkill. But it will be interesting to see. I want a couple more in there, to be honest. So again, we'll put some compost on those and put the labels in. Well, just taking a look at the trays I put in, if this will focus. Yeah, so we're about between 8 and 9. It's not great temperatures in there. And as you can see, nothing yet appearing. No little green shoots, but we live in eternal hope. So we have got quite a lot going on now. We've got cabbage, cauliflower, peas, turnips, not turnips, swede, and marigold in. And then we've got 2 pots of carrots with a 2-week gap to the ones I put in today. Actually 3 weeks gap. And then the potatoes, 2 weeks gap between those first 2. And the last 2 I put in today. So we'll see what happens, I guess. As always, comments welcome. You'll have to let me know what you think. I know what some of you think, but if you don't try, you don't find out. So we'll see. I think I'll be having a cup of coffee and then disappearing off. There's not a great deal more I can do down here, and there's certainly plenty of things I can do at home, and plenty of shops beckoning for supplies, so we'll see. But for now I think I'll get a cup of coffee. Well, I'm guessing you can hear the rain. It's just not stopping at all. So that's some more seeds planted. I'm just watching. I've got my jacket hung on the door from when I was outside earlier, and it's still dripping onto the floor of the garden room. Yeah, we've got some more seeds planted in. So 2 more tubs of carrots, 2 more of those tubs, the fabric ones, of potatoes, and we'll see how we get on with those. What are you doing is the burning question. It's alright watching me pottering around in the cabin and the garden room, but what are you doing? I know a couple of you have planted out some tomato seeds in little trays in the home on your windowsills to get a bit of a head start. Is anybody else doing what I'm doing? Planting out in an unheated space, especially if you're in the UK and you're sharing this weather that we're having lately. Are you trying to get a head start on the seeds, or is it just me being crazy? You'll have to let me know in the comments. Or it is nice to just sit. I'm in from the rain, I've got the fire going still, I've got my cup of coffee, and I can just sit and look out over the field and ponder as to what I'd like to be doing if we had that little bit of better weather. I am hoping it doesn't freeze too much this weekend. I feel for our cousins up in Scotland who are getting -10, 12, 15 in some cases. I do sympathise with you. I don't think there's much chance of you doing what I'm doing with the garden room. But whatever you are doing, let me know. It's nice, not just for me to see, but for the people that visit the videos and take a look at the comment section. Share with them what it is that you're up to. Anyway, I'm going to have this cup of coffee, have a little sit and a think, and a dream about what I'll hopefully be getting up to over the next few weeks. That pond, you saw that this morning as I came in. A lot of water standing there now. We didn't have quite as much of that last year, so that does tell me we've had a bit more rain already than we did last year. We've certainly had more snow than we did last year. But it does give me a little bit of optimism that if I do dig in that area, then that ambition I've got for digging out a decent sized pond, maybe that will come to fruition this year. Fingers crossed for that. But for now I'm going to get this coffee drunk, have a little think, and it'll be time for home. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm hiding in the cabin. It's lashing it down. I've still got my coffee to drink, but I'll not be running across the field while it's coming down at this rate of knots. So I might be trapped here for a while, we'll see. Well, the rain's slowed down a little bit, so I'm going to make a break for it while I can. You can see how much water's standing now. It's just kept coming and coming and coming. There is quite a bit of it. Cabin's all locked up, fire's just burning itself out. You can actually see here, around where the original pond was dug, that's actually got, believe it or not, it's actually got water in it now. But as you'll know, that doesn't last. This is essentially runoff from the field. There are a couple of little French drains that run across, which kind of direct the water down to this corner, and then off into that drainage ditch that's behind. So yeah, there's quite a bit of standing water here. We have just had months and months and months of this, with the occasional bit of snow. So a lot of water this year already, on top of what we had last year. So I don't know what this is going to bring. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. You can see that little French drain there, look, as it runs down from the gate. There's one runs from where the car's parked at the gate there, down here, and then there's another one that runs off across there. And at some point during the year, I'll dig those out a little bit just to give it a bit more free flow, because it kind of stops here. And it should run down into that corner just past the side of the pond, but it doesn't. It's not been dug out for years and years. So lots of things on my mind, as always. But for now, what's on my mind is I'm getting soaking wet stood here talking to you. So I'm going to get myself in the car and get myself off home. But it is quite heartening, just off in the distance there it is, to see that. That's definitely a place to put it, for sure. But yeah, that's it. I'm off. I'm getting in the car and I'll see you all later. Well, it's been a short day down at the cabin today, thanks to the weather, which is still pretty lousy outside. So I thought to the end of the video, I'd just add something about food, which we've talked about a lot recently. And I'd do another little meal from your preps. Today we've got spaghetti. Really, really cheap this, 500 grams. It depends where you shop, but between 20 and 25 pence for this supermarket own brand variety. To go with that, some meatballs in tomato sauce. You've seen that numerous times. Again, depending where you get this from, anywhere from sort of 49 pence. Well, the sky's the limit, I guess, if you want to go for the real Gucci stuff. And then just to bulk that out, because this is meals for two, don't forget, a can of tomatoes. These are ridiculous cheap, something like 12 pence, 16 pence, something like that. Just to fill out and to provide a little bit more sauce than you would otherwise get in this can, because bear in mind these cans are allegedly 2 servings. So all we're going to do is measure out 75 grams per person, so 150 grams out of this 500 gram pack, and then literally 2 cans. Spaghetti, boil that up in a pan, let it simmer away for, I don't know, 10-12 minutes until it gets to the consistency that you want. Some people like it really firm, others don't. And we're literally just heating up the tomatoes and the meatballs in tomato sauce. So I'll get sorted out in the kitchen, get some pans on the go, and come back to you shortly. So we've got a big pan of water on to boil. We've got another pan there just to take our other ingredients. This is for 2 people, so 75 grams per person, 150 grams of spaghetti, and our 2 tins. So literally meatballs and tomato sauce, nice convenient Pondering lid on that, so that can go in. That's that little job done. Quickly open up this tin. These are plum tomatoes, so I'll break these into pieces once they're inside the pan, rather than having huge tomatoes to go at. So I'll get my trusty stirrer, and I'll just break up these tomatoes into more manageable bite-sized pieces. Give it a quick stir to mix everything together. Don't know if you'll see that or not, but that's the meatballs and sauce. a generous 2 portions there. So that can just sit. We're just waiting for this water to come to the boil. As you can see, it's actually not far off. You can't see it, but it is actually starting to bubble in there. So I'll just give it a couple of seconds more, because it will go off the boil as soon as I put the spaghetti in. But yeah, there we go. So that's boiling. So literally all we're doing, feed the spaghetti in, and it will start to soften. So you're just gently encouraging it to fall down into the pan. Which it is. Watch you don't burn your fingers. I'll just quickly get that down. Now, in the initial stages, you are going to want to stir this a little bit just to make sure that it separates out the strands of spaghetti. But I'll just let that come back to a nice boil again. And literally, once you've done that, a bit of a stir every now and again, 10 to 12 minutes, just keep testing it as you get towards the end of that time for firmness. I'll pop this other pan just on a low heat to warm through while we're cooking the spaghetti. Yeah, it's come back to the boil, so I'll just let that steam out. And I'll come back to you shortly. This is a very, very quick thing, obviously, to do. 10-12 minutes of simmering away and we'll be done. So our spaghetti's bubbling away nicely there. The meatballs and tomato sauce, that's just warming through gently. I am just taking the time to just separate out the strands of the spaghetti. Just tease it a little bit with the fork as I'm stirring. And it's just a case of keeping an eye on the clock now till we get to our 10-minute point, at which point I'll just start testing every so often to see how firm the spaghetti is, till it reaches the point where I'm content, and then we'll get it dished up. So I'll come back to you once I'm happy with the spaghetti. Well, that's been sitting now for 10 minutes. Spaghetti is almost done. Meatballs and tomato sauce is ready. So I'll just gradually test the spaghetti over the next couple of minutes till it gets to the firmness that I want, and then we'll be plating up. Okay, so we're about done. I've just tested the spaghetti, that's nice. Turned the pan off now. Meatballs, they've been ready for a while actually, so I've turned that pan off as well. So let's get this show on the road. Get the spaghetti drained out. Not make the mistake of putting it on the hot plate. And we'll get plated up. Okay, so there's our spaghetti with meatballs and tomato sauce. Cooking from your preps. So as you can see, we've still got enough spaghetti for another portion, and same again, the meatballs and tomato sauce, enough there for another portion. But there we are, the finished article. meatballs and tomato sauce. Bon appetit.
Well, that's it for this video. Short but sweet today, but hopefully there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Have you started planting? If so, what have you planted, and more importantly, I guess, where have you planted it? Indoors, outdoors? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.